Kelly has been a Mary Kay consultant for a year and loves the personal growth that comes with a job. She loves being a gatherer of women, and this business allows her to use skills God has given her. When she's not working on her business, she's the chaos coordinator of the Vonk household, where she and her husband Jason of 16 years are raising 5 boys. Kelly has high expectations and is devoted to excellence, but it's easy to be around. She is easy to be around and gives people lots of grace. She is a fountain of knowledge and expertise about relating with people, being a whole person, and raising children. But she's also quick to seek advice and ask for help. She loves to laugh and cry. She's passionate about Jesus, her family, and her community. Kelly will speak on what's holding you back and taking your next steps along with leading a conference recap. She loves being part of the fabulous Rise and Shine group that comes together at the crack of dawn to encourage and help women entrepreneurs get better and get growing. Yay. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. All right. So what is your number one fear? What is holding you back from taking the next steps? Fear has 2 meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. I believe that you're here today because you have a growth mindset and you want to face your fears and rise. So the first thing that we're going to do, I almost said this afternoon, is we're going to identify what our fear is. And a lot of times they're similar, like if we're in a room together and we all wrote our fears down, there would definitely be some similar themes. But how you identify what your personal fear is, it's that thing that kind of sits on your chest. You might have a hard time articulating because it's vulnerable. It also can get kind of stuck in your throat. So for example, I started my business a year ago, and a fear that kept coming up in me as I would get stressed and things was, I cannot run a business and the Vonk household. And I had to come to grips with the fact that this is something God has called me to do. And so I show my love to God by my obedience. And I love doing it. I'll say that too. So we lead people with our strengths, but we connect with people through our weaknesses and vulnerabilities. And a couple weeks ago, our mastermind, through Zoom, 5:20 in the morning, we went around and kind of shared what was that thing that was kind of sitting in our throat or on our chest, the thing that we are afraid of. And that's the beautiful thing, is that we connect when we do that. When you share it with somebody, and sometimes you have to borrow their faith because you do have a little bit of fear. But I love the mastermind for that reason, is that it's a safe place where we can come and we can be honest about what's holding us back, and strengthened that way. So what are some examples of what your fear might be? A common one is fear of failure. What if I do this and I totally flop? Another one, I'm just not good enough. Another one, the comparison trap. Well, what she's doing, oh my goodness, she is so pretty and does such a great job at social media or business plan or whatever it is, because there's always somebody that's doing something better than us. Lack of self-confidence, it's another one, or fear of rejection. So once we've identified what our fear is, the second thing we get to do is to choose to face it. You are going to feel fear. Hands down. None of us are void of feeling fear. But you get to choose to do it anyway. So I want you to imagine that all of us have an imaginary hula hoop around us, and inside our hula hoop is our comfort zone. And every time you choose to step outside of that hula hoop, your comfort zone gets bigger. And I want you to get okay with working more outside your comfort zone, because as your comfort zone grows, so will your business. Somebody said this earlier too. Something like it. Action increases your confidence. Confidence increases your belief. Belief makes you brave. So again, we've identified our fear. So be thinking, because we are going to write them down. The second thing, we're going to choose to face it. And the third thing is replacing it with truth. What is the truth to replace that fear? So for example, let's say your fear is comparison. My good friend Amy Whipple says, stay in your own lane of awesomeness. So the truth is, I don't actually have to be great at everything. Like, I have gifts that God's given me. God has given you different gifts. It's beautiful. I love how unique each of us are. Or let's say your fear is you just have this overwhelming sense of a lack of self-confidence. Well, the only way to get confident is to step outside your comfort zone, do things imperfectly, and what builds confidence. This is unscripted, but I struggled so much with a lack of self-worth. And I just a testimony to God's faithfulness in my own life, but this is something like, it's so, like, I consistently stepped outside of my comfort zone, and I actually asked God, like, please put me in circumstances where I am faced with my insecurity because I don't want it. And I chose to face it. So the third thing is choosing to replace the truth, or to replace the lie with truth. So let's say your fear is the fear of rejection. Honestly, your product or your service might be rejected. They're not rejecting you, and if they are, you really don't want them on your team anyway. So why is this important? Our fears lose power when we articulate them, when we voice them. So the fears we don't face become our limits. So we'd be limited to this hula hoop if we just stayed within our comfort zone. And fear creates paralysis. Most people don't go long enough or hard enough to see the fruition of the goal. And to encourage you, new business owners, when you are building below ground, no one notices, but it's the most important part. Kind of like when you're building a house, what is the most important part? The foundation. So I want to leave you with a quote by Chris Valentin. He says, hang around people who pour water on the fires of your fears and throw gasoline on the passions of your dreams. You will become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose those 5 wisely.